Looking on the charts, this swell looked amazing. It was one of the biggest things I've ever seen hit WA and towards Indonesia. Everyone knew it was going to be huge, but just as the swell got closer and closer on the forecast, we didn't know how big it was actually going to get.
The forecast itself was that big, it looked fake.
Compared to everything I've seen in the past, this looked like a big black mamba heading to Indo.
We woke up the day of the big swell and could just hear the ocean roaring. It was just unloading on the reef out the front. And by the time we got down to the keyhole, there was just whitewash everywhere.
The high tide combined with the magnitude of the swell just seemed like it was tearing everything apart along the entire point here.
All the locals are telling us not to paddle out. We couldn't even see where the keyhole actually was. There was so much water moving around.
I think it exceeded everyone's expectations. It pretty much looked like mavericks. The biggest, brownest barrels I've ever seen.
Nias, it's usually just the perfect right-hander, had just stepped it up into the most craziest slab I've ever seen.
So many underground Aussies out there just charging that morning. No one out there in boats shooting or nothing, just heaps of young Australians and older Australians just out there, just board shorts and charging.
Freaking maxing out, and that last set was, I'll say 20 foot, too big. Scary, scariest wave ever.
It was such an amazing experience to surf a swell that was so historical and be out in the water amongst the best surfers in the world, and it was a real humbling experience for everyone to try to tackle waves of this magnitude.
And I just remember sitting out there with a pack of some of the best big wave surfers in the world, and these huge sets were marching in and no one was even looking at them. Hey, it's quite a humbling thing when the best big wave surfers in the world are all out there and these sets come through and no one's even interested, and they're just the most perfect big 15-foot barrels you've ever seen.
This is the biggest, most perfect, thickest waves I've ever seen, and no one could get near them.
It was so big and so much power with the surges and the long interval and the swell and the size and the magnitude to the swell that you thought, okay, this has got to be it. Like, this is the peak of the swell here, and it just seemed to like build and progress throughout the day. And each tide had a different look, and just, yeah, it was a wild day to be a part of and just see that much raw energy from the ocean all funneling into one pinpointed location.
That Wednesday, the 25th, was like some of the biggest waves I've ever seen in Indonesia, and some of the waves you just could not paddle. I don't care who you are. All the best big wave days are out there in their paddle vests and all that, and if they went on themselves as a lead, that means something.